Hello there guys, my name is MrYorkiesWorld, and today we are running this sim on a brand new PC. You've probably seen that I'm now running the i9-9900K. God knows what's happening with the jetway there. But today we are going to be taking the Boeing 737-700 with Westjet 1510 from here at Calgary in Canada all the way to Los Angeles, California. Beautiful day, absolutely fantastic. We've got a little bit more auto-gen than usual, so let's get started. So, doors, we can open them up for good old GSX. Get the catering on the go. And we can jump straight in and check the parking brakes ready, which it is. It's all nice and set. FS actions, we can go to fuel. And today we're going to be taking £19,637 of fuel. The flight should take approximately 2 hours and 52 minutes. We're going to get the APU powered up straight away. We've set the wheel well light on, just for the walk around. We can set passenger signs on. 370 is going to be our cruise altitude today. For those of you who don't know, I'm also using the Blue Yeti blackout microphone, so I'm still getting used to it, so I do apologise if I sound like I'm crackling or it's a little bit too sort of condensed or whatever. It's a completely different microphone to what I was using previously. Nevertheless, VORs, data traffic, flight directors, the auto brake is set to RTO. We can repeat things on both sides, and we can request clearance as well.
Clearance delivery, WJA1510. Parking position, gate east, 84 with the 80s, request clearance.
WJA1510, expect clearance within 2 minutes. Stand by.
Roger, WJA1510.
Okay, so we do have to wait a little bit for clearance. That's perfectly fine. We can sort out the FMC. So pause in it. Charlie, Yankee, Yankee, Charlie. We're actually at gate Echo 84 today. But it's not going to work. Echo 84. No, it's not in the database. That's exactly where we are, so we're just going to ignore that. Here we go with the clearance.
We're ready, go ahead.
WJA1510, roger, departing, runway 35 right.
35 right. 9,000 on the initial. Take the GPSL position, stick in the co-route. Using runway 35 right. Yeah, 35 right, that's fine. WJA1510 is going to be our flight number today. Activate and execute, and we can sort the doors out for GSX. And request boarding. So per finite, we're going to be using a zero fuel weight of 107.1. Our reserves are going to be 0.92 today. Cost index for Westjet is 25. Transition altitude 18,000 and 370 on the cruise altitude there. 22 kd rate with flaps 5. I believe we've got calm winds today. Let me just have a look. Yep. So it looks as if it's 360 at 0 or 0 at 0. There we go. V2 speed is 132. We can place that in here. And we're not going to be using a departure by the looks of it. It's not actually giving us a SID to use. So we can't arm LNAV just yet. It's not a problem. We can just clear that warning. Let's go ahead and sort everything else out. So, window heats. It's asking me to open the left entry forward, which is already open. So I'm going to have to close it and then reopen it. Seems to be an ongoing issue with GSX. There we go. Got some passengers boarding now. So your damper can be switched on after we've transferred the power. We can set XPDR and give the TCAS a test. Clear that warning again. Fix information, so KLAX. TCAS has passed, perfect. Gonna stick my fix rings in. Like so, there we go. This is the route, nice and simple. Whether or not it works out like that, that's a whole different story. But there we go. So I think we're about ready to get the passengers all boarded, the baggage all boarded, and then we shall be ready for pushback and departure. So, again, this is the brand new i9 9900K system. We're getting a lot better performance. I cannot wait to see how things go in this video. There goes the jetway again, but nevertheless, I will catch up with you guys a little bit later on, once everybody's boarded, once all the baggage is on board. What a view, look at that, just as the jetway pops in. Right, okay, so I think we're about ready. We can disconnect the jetway. I'm not sure why it disappears like that. If anybody's got any ideas, do let me know. This is a brand new installation with no config tweaks or anything like that of P3D 4.4. Everything is up to date. Arm the auto throttle.
WJA
Can request pushback.
Request start up and pushback.
Westjet 1510. Start up and pushback approved.
Approved. That's fine.
1510.
Anti-collision light, hydraulics are on. Wheel well lights off. We can switch on the rest of the fuel pumps. Get rid of the ground equipment, we don't need that now. And we can get GSX to push us back. Westjet, we don't actually need the de-icing treatment, but it's going to ask us to do it anyway. The temperature is about 7 degrees or something like that, last time I checked. So we don't actually need it. The tug's down there somewhere, there we go. I'm expecting this new microphone to pick up literally every crack and pop and lip sound that I make, so I do apologise. It is quite sensitive.
Good day, sir.
So I'm just getting used to that.
Be pushing back in a couple of minutes. Parking brake on, please.
The parking brake's set, that's all fine. Init ref page, we can go to takeoff on there, and the legs page on this second FMC, if I can remember how to do it. There we go. Now, I will warn people that, again, this flight is being performed on the latest version of everything near enough with P3D 4.4 on the i9 9900K and the 1080 Ti. I will shortly be making some videos in terms of settings and stuff like that. Parking brakes released. Again, it's going to mention those icing conditions, but we are going to start the engines regardless. If I just go over to active sky, we can see that it's actually 9 degrees. So that's perfectly fine. We don't need the de-icing. And wait, well, 25% or thereabouts. That'll do for me. That's the cutout for engine 2. We can start engine number 1 now. You will notice the frames aren't perfect, but that's because of the scenery, not because of the system. And I'm also using a few things in ENV text as well. as well as wrecks and things like that. So take that into account. You can have the beastiest system in the world, but it doesn't necessarily mean that everything will be flawless.
Push now complete, set parking brake speed.
Right, so we can set the parking brake. Look at that. There was the cutout. So we can set both engines to continuous. Switch on the probe heats. We don't need the wing anti-ice or engine anti-ice. We can transfer the power, packs, APU bleed, and switch off the APU. We can set flaps 5, which we can see being extended.
Unlocking the gear.
Like so. We can set the trim.
Tap disconnected and clear, bypass pin is removed.
There goes the tow truck. And with that, taxi and turn-offs.
Flight is clear, disconnecting now, have a good flight. Bye-bye.
Right, everything's set. We can request taxi to runway.
WJA1510, request taxi.
Westjet 1510, taxi via Echo Bravo to runway 35 right.
Via Echo Bravo to runway 35 right, WJA1510.
Right, perfect. Parking brakes released. A little bit of power. Going to try and get onto that taxi line perfectly. With the nose, there we go. I'm going to try not to cut it as much, this video, so that we can really see the airport and really see the FPS or the smoothness that we're getting. I've not got an indicator for FPS at the moment. I should have activated that through shadow play, but FPS doesn't always mean smoothness, so I'll let you be the judge. This is a very temperamental airport that on the previous Chill Blast PC, the 4790K, we had a lot of stutter, even on low settings. So for this to have no stutter at all would be ridiculous. It's bound to have a little bit at least. But personally, oh, if I can actually keep the taxi line, personally I don't think the performance is that bad at all. We've got pretty high settings in the sim. I will go into detail about those. They've not really changed from my previous config, from my previous setup. And I've done a little bit of a test. I'm going to try and start testing it in different airports like Heathrow. Heathrow's a big one, obviously. UK 2000 Heathrow is renowned for being an FPS killer, so I really want to get that tested properly. I've done a quick one, and obviously the sim does struggle. But with a little bit of tweaking, I'm sure we can sort that out. It's definitely a lot better than what the 4790K system was from Chill Blast. So far, so good though. We're looking perfect. Now, as always, I do want to thank everybody who donated and made this video possible, or this entire system possible, because without you, I wouldn't have actually been able to afford a machine such as this. So it's thanks to everybody who supports my channel and everybody who's been there. We're nearly, at the time of recording this, nearly at 4,000 subscribers, and that is 4,000 more than what I ever thought I would get. So thank you guys so much for the nice comments, for the generosity, and obviously for your time as well. Look at that. Again, the tiniest little bit of micro stutter, nothing major. I can deal with it. I can absolutely deal with it. If we go to like external views and stuff, generally the FPS is a lot higher. Unfortunately, that's just because we're inside the virtual cockpit. There's so much going on. That is what makes it so demanding on the system. Not necessarily the scenery and stuff like that, but the virtual cockpit. So with a bit of luck, different aircraft like this, it's not too bad. If you look at that compared to what it was in the virtual cockpit, you can't really tell the difference unless I start panning around. If I was to start panning around, which I will do when we get onto the runway threshold and stuff like that, as we enter the runway, then you'll see a tiny bit of extra stutter, but there's virtually nothing compared to what there used to be. So anyway, with that, it's a pretty bored. We've got to go all the way up here, basically. It's going to take all the way down to the bottom. That's where we've got to go. So I'm going to skip ahead, and I'll catch up with you guys in a few seconds as we enter the runway. Alright, so here we are, 35 right. Here's the threshold. We better let Tower know that we're ready for takeoff or departure.
Hold it short, runway 35 right, ready for departure.
Westjet 1510, line up runway 35 right.
Lining up runway
Perfect.
35
Can
right,
line straight up. TA and RA.
510.
Landing lights can come on. Taxi lights can come off. Strobes can come on. And this is where you might see a little bit extra stutter just as we turn on to the runway. Not too much. Definitely not as much compared to the old system. Wonderful.
Westjet 1510, wind 350 at 6, runway 35 right, cleared for takeoff, good flight.
Runway 35 right.
Clear for takeoff, start the clock.
WJA1510.
40%. And Toga. Listen to that engine noise. Absolutely beautiful. 80 knots. And rotate nice and gently. And there we go. Positive rate. Gear up. Wonderful wing view. A little bit of stutter there as we depart, but again, nothing compared to what we had before. Very little pop in as well. Lock the gear and the auto brakes off. Runway turn-offs can come off. Engines to the off position. Beautiful. Nice steady rate of climb. LNAV now and the autopilot is in command. Spam the intervene. Flaps can come up to 1. 16,000 now. And we can near enough bring those flaps all the way up now. There we go. A little bit of black texture in there, but it was very, very quick to load in. Wonderful. Silky smooth performance. Zoom out a little bit, you can see some aircraft there on the TCAS.
Westjet 220, with you passing 6,900.
Beautiful, look at that.
Westjet 220, stand by, climb to 11,000.
Climbing to 11,000, Westjet 220.
For a moment there I thought that was for us, but it's 220, not 1510. Seatbelts to auto now. What an amazing departure that really is. Definitely worth the purchase was this i9 system. Again, a little bit of texture pop in there, or load in. Nothing major.
With you at 7,300.
Bear in mind, there are no config tweaks.
Turn left heading 170. Climb to 160,000. Clear the UMRA intersection. Left turn to heading 170. Climb into 16,000.
So there we go. Landing lights off, 10,000 feet. That is just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Can't wait to see what it's going to be like over at KLAX. You can set the current heading. Speed's looking good, climb's looking nice. So before we do get on with the rest of this flight, again, we are going to be going from Calgary to Los Angeles with Westjet 1510 today. We should have departed at around 10:05 AM MST local time and arriving at approximately 11:57 AM PST. We've just departed from gate Echo 84. Our cruise altitude is 370 and we'll be travelling approximately 1,308 miles. So without further ado, let's get on to some amazing cinematics and I will catch up with you guys a little bit later on into this flight. Okay guys, so we are just short of the 150 mile radius ring. We don't appear to have been given any sort of approach by Pro ATCX, so it looks as if we might have to do this ourselves. Look at the FMC, choose an arrival and hope for the best, which is not the ideal situation, but unfortunately there's nothing I can really do. So it's not giving me any opportunity to sort of to program an approach in or an arrival or anything like that. It just says approach and then nothing. So we're going to do this a little bit differently. We're actually going to have a look on Avlasoft's EFB, which I am currently doing. I'll just do this on my second screen. Try and find a reasonable sort of arrival that they would use at KLAX. It's not very easy, so we're going to go down, depart, we're going to use ILS runway 25 left, which I believe is one of the runways that is actually used for landing at KLAX, but I'm not entirely sure. It's not a major thing, I'm not really bothered to be honest, but there we go. We're going to use the Boggart 2 arrival. We're not really going to use any particular transition, so we'll just leave it at that. Clear the discontinuity. And that, to be honest, looks okay to me. I'm not really too fussed about it. It's something which we've not got much choice, to be honest, given the circumstances. So ILS 25 left with the Boggart 2 arrival is going to be our plan. So let's just set the ILS frequency 109.90 if I can get the click spot. There we go. Same on the other side. Switch them over to the active. We might as well do that now. And while we do that, let's just put in the minimums. Where is it? That one. I always forget which one it is for some bizarre reason. So 298 on the left. .298 on the right. Auto brake, I believe auto brake 2 should be sufficient. I'm just taking a look over there at the moment. Everything's set up as it is. We will set auto brake 2 just for the sake of it. Here's the legs page. This is how we're going to go about it. We have got some terrain that we need to watch out for as well. And I suppose we better configure the rest of it. So we better configure the rest of it. So 109.90, 251 is the course. Flaps 30 at 126. We of course need to add 5 knots to that, which is 131. Stick that in the little memory device here. So flaps 30 at 131 is actually going to be our speed. 109.90 251, ILS runway 25 left. There it is in the nav radios. Everything's set up. Just switch this by 1 degree just to make it perfect. We might as well set the current heading. We don't have ATC, so this is going to be a challenge. But nevertheless, I'm sure we'll manage. So I'll catch up with you guys a little bit later on when we are ready to intercept the localizer. Okay guys, so the localizer is here, basically right in front of us. The airport's to the right. We've not got very good visibility, to be honest. Quite a bit of fog. We're going to set the altitude to about 3,000, I should imagine. Just stay at 3,000 for now. Speed's looking good. We're at flaps 10 at the moment. .190 on the speed. Let's try and mess around with that speed a little bit just to get it perfect. VOR lock. And here we go, turning on to the localizer now. Gonna wait for the glide slope diamond to turn purple or fully purple before we enable approach. Take the altitude down to 2,000 and we will use vertical speed. Approach hold. That should bring us in nice and gently. We'll go gear down. Again, we've got no ATC. We've had to disable Pro ATCX for some bizarre reason. It didn't want to work. We've also got no traffic because Ultimate Traffic Live would be absolutely all over the place. So that's a bit of a disadvantage, a bit of an issue that I'd have to sort out with Pro ATCX, but we should be okay. Speed's coming down. Final approach speed will be 130 when we get round to it. We've got very limited visibility at the moment. Localizer's coming in perfectly. Flaps going down another degree. And we can finally go flaps 30. Speed, I'm still going to just leave it about 150 for now. Just until the localizer and the glide slope are both captured. So it's 125 plus 5 knots, that's 130 on the final approach speed. Lovely wing view. I still need to get some California scenery, some Orbex California. Here comes the glide. And we'll take that speed down. Just a little bit lower, 5 knots lower, and then we'll increase it to the 130. Just to make sure that we get a sort of a quicker deceleration here. Fully established, gear is down, 3 greens. Lights are configured, engine's continuous. Auto brake is armed. Flaps 30. And the speed's coming down nicely as well. Again, we're going to be using auto brake 2, that should be perfectly fine. 130 on the speed now. We're actually landing with a tailwind today. I didn't anticipate that, but that's perfectly fine. We can manage that. Nice wing view there. It looks so much better with that Orbex California scenery, so I may have to purchase some. Won't really be anytime soon, considering the price of this entire system. I've just forked out a hell of a lot of money, so be a while yet, but definitely something to consider. I'm interested to see what the reflections are going to look like, because we've got a bit of rain as well. And we've got M-Tex and Rex and stuff like that doing the reflections and stuff and the textures. So I'm really interested to see what it's going to look like. We didn't have a 1000 call there. I'm not sure why. But nevertheless, the aircraft is now mine. I'm going to take manual control and try and bring this baby down. First landing I've done in a hell of a long time. Looking stable. Don't know where the pappies are at. Trying to follow the flight director as best I can. A little bit of a lag spike there. That will be all of these reflections. Get ready for some insane reflections. Look at this. 100 feet. Over the threshold. 50.
30. 20. 10.
Little bit of a float. Touchdown. Reversers. Keeping that centre line. Look at those reflections. Absolutely beautiful. Reversers are stowed. We're going to take this rapid exit to the left, although I do think we probably should have gone right. But we'll sort that out at a later date. What an amazing set of visuals this really is. Absolutely loving those reflections, the water effects. That is just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. We will of course be able to see the landing replays as well, which is always a nice thing, especially with this. I mean, look at the FPS. This is KLAX, which Usually the frames per second are just through the window, but not today. We're looking pretty good. So without further ado, I think we should take a look at some of those replays.
Too low. Terrain.
So it is sort of what I thought. We did have a little tiny bit of a floater, but it wasn't really worth calling that. Oops, wrong radios. There we go. So we can configure the aircraft now. VORs, data and traffic can all be switched off. Flight directors can come off as well. Auto brakes already disarmed. Engines to off position. Taxi lights on. Runway turn-offs and everything can stay on. I'm going to switch on the wing lights. Strobes to steady. APU bleed and start the APU. And we can also switch off those probe heats. And welcome everybody to Los Angeles. Parking brakes released. We're going to try to control the aircraft at the same time as choosing a gate. We should be at Bravo 31 according to FlightAware. And I have no idea which terminal it's at. I have no idea what to click on, so I'm just going to have to go through them and sort of hope for the best. So anyways, I will catch up with you guys once we are at the gate. So here we go. Bravo 31. That's 31 Charlie. And this should be 31 Bravo ahead of us. Cannot get over how gorgeous this really does look with these effects. So here we go. Taxi and turn-offs can come off. I am going to switch off the wing lights and the logo lights. I probably shouldn't do that yet. I had them on because of low visibility, but may as well get everything switched off. A little bit of lag and a little bit of stuttering, but nothing compared to our previous experience with the Chill Blast PC. So here we go. Let's see if we can get it perfectly on the 737 mark. Let's ignore the GSX guy. A little bit of acceleration. Look at that. That is just a beautiful, beautiful set of visuals right there. So we want to be on the 777 and 737 mark, which, oops, no, a little bit further. A little bit further. We'll do it there. It'll be perfectly fine. Parking brakes set. We can, of course, transfer the APU power. Cut the engines. Oops, not the right one. Seatbelts can come off. Let's get GSX to deboard us. Connect the jetway as well. That's in progress. Right, I'm going to switch off the fuel pumps, apart from the aft one. Hydraulics, anti-collision, even though you shouldn't switch it off straight away. ISO valve can sort itself out. Set it to open. FS actions, we can connect ground power. And select it, there we go. Open up the doors for GSX. I don't know why I've just opened the right forward door.
Baggage handling is complete and the aircraft is clear.
Close that again. And once again, thank you very much for watching, guys. Welcome to KLAX. This has been the first video back after a little bit of a delay. Videos are still going to be sort of not all the time, but oops, he's just walked through the engine. But I will attempt to get as many videos up as I possibly can when I can, given the circumstances. Remember, guys, I have got a baby coming in March and also a child to look after, as well as a demanding job and everything like that. So do bear with me, have a little bit of patience. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.